on to celebrating those who are doing good. Welcome back to Doing Good, where we shine a light on everyday volunteers making extraordinary impact. This is part 2 of our Women's National Book Association Nashville chapter series, and today we have 2 guests who perfectly demonstrate how fresh energy and experienced leadership can work together to create meaningful change. We're rejoined by Amy, president of the WNBA Nashville chapter, who you met in our previous episode. And today, Amy takes a supportive role as we shine the spotlight on our second guest, Molly. Molly's story shows us how new members can bring fresh ideas and immediate impact to established organizations, while Amy's leadership creates the environment where those ideas and people can flourish. Together, they represent the beautiful partnership between vision and action that makes volunteer work so powerful. Molly, Amy, hi, welcome.
Hi, Megan. Oh, it's my pleasure to be here. I enjoyed our last call, and I love seeing Molly's face, so I'm glad to be here with her, too.
Well, I'm so happy to be here.
We're so glad both of you are here. Absolutely. Molly, let's start with you. Could you tell us a little bit about yourself and what initially drew you to join the WNBA Nashville chapter?
Yes. So I graduated college in 2021 and got into the music industry after that. And worked in that industry for a couple years, and kind of in that time, all my personal interests kind of shift from music to books. I started writing a book in college, and I joined a book club. I started a book club in that time. So I was really just seeking for my professional life to reflect those interests too. So I started looking for opportunities in the publishing industry, and just to kind of coincide with that, was looking for just community and like-minded people, even if that didn't mean I was working in the industry, but just wanted to know them. And that's how I found the WNBA. I think I would just Googled it and found out that there was a Nashville chapter. And so I joined immediately. It kind of felt like a no-brainer.
That's great. Well, Amy, from your perspective as president of the local chapter of WNBA, what is it like when someone like Molly just comes in out of the blue, joins, and immediately brings her clear energy and initiative?
You know, when I think I was probably there at the very first meeting that Molly came to, and I was just delighted. I think, I don't know if we sat together necessarily, but we definitely talked at that first meeting, and I just identify so much with her. I'm a good couple or 3 decades older than her, but I knew what it felt like to be in those shoes of just wanting to participate in the world that is books. And so, yeah, so I love it when people come to the WNBA and say, I am looking for community in this same space, and I want to serve. I want to not only be with other people who are like-minded and also love books, but I also want to serve in my community. And that was definitely Molly's disposition and her attitude.
That's really nice of you. I'm glad that you thought that.
Molly, you've been with them only briefly. I mean, about a year or so, I think. Is that right?
Yeah, coming up on a year. I think I joined in the fall last year. I remember it was cold.
But you've already spearheaded some major initiatives for the chapter. So what made you feel comfortable proposing what you did? And if you will explain a little bit about, first, the foster care book drive.
Well, just to explain what we did this year, in the spring, we hosted a book drive to collect. Our goal was 100 books to give to foster kids in the local Nashville area. And it came about, honestly, because at our January meeting of this year, Amy asked me if I had any ideas of volunteer opportunities for the chapter. And because the holidays had just wrapped up, it was kind of in the back of my mind. The past couple of years, I've supported another nonprofit that collects Christmas gifts for foster kids. So that had just wrapped up. So that was kind of in my mind. And I thought, oh, it would be really cool if we could marry that idea with our book thing and give the kids books. So I kind of just pitched that to Amy, and she was like, great, do you want to do it? And I was like, okay. So it was a pretty casual, quick conversation, and then it was rolling.
It was a little more complicated than Molly is making it out to be because she had a lot of work to do. She had to put together a program and present it to the board and get buy-in and then figure out how to do the social media around it and present it at the chapter meetings, etc. So she is selling herself a little short in all the effort that it took. But I will say she over delivered. I mean, she led us in this initiative to get 100 books, but I think we ended up with how many was it, Molly?
It was like 140 something.
For these children who otherwise would not have had these brand new books. And she used a local independent bookstore to vet a list so that we were able to give these these children books that were appropriate for them, that would feel like a good fit. And then wouldn't be problematic for them. So it was a lot of effort, but it ended up being a very fruitful effort. And I think all of our members really enjoyed participating because we all felt like we were doing good.
Well, it sounds like, I'll say, the support and the infrastructure of the chapter allowed her to dream about the big idea, the vision, and everybody paid attention to all the details along the way.
Yeah, every single person picked up a different piece of the puzzle to make sure it was in the newsletter and on the website and on socials. And it was definitely a good collaborative effort.
Well, congratulations on your 140 some odd books. That's wild. So do you plan for it to be an ongoing event or campaign?
I don't know about that drive specifically. We have another one that we've planned for the fall and winter months of this year that will benefit the rehabilitation center here in Nashville. So not quite the exact same thing, but yeah, we're just looking for those needs that we can fill and not necessarily having to repeat the same drive every time, but whenever something's needed, we'd love to step in.
We have certainly in the past done things like worked with Reading is Fundamental, done book backpacks for kids going back to school. There are all kinds of ways you can pitch in, but you can only do so much as one person. If you rather rally together as a chapter, you can get so much more bang for your buck, so much more good for your effort.
You're right. You're so right. So, Molly, you touched on a current project or an upcoming project. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah. So, Amy, I'd also love your input on this because this was a need that was brought to our attention, which is that the bookshelves of the chaplain's office at the Nashville Rehabilitation Center for Women need to be filled. So we were asked if we could provide Bibles or devotionals or any sort of spiritually influential books that these women could read. And that was something that we were like, yes, we can absolutely do that. So I know that that's a friend of Amy's, so she might have some more insight on that. But yeah.
Yeah, that's true. It was Kathy Britt, our friend Kathy Britt, who has participated in some WNBA activities as well. So she was formerly the chaplain at the Women's Rehabilitation Center. And she pointed out that the resources in the library that they had there were really depleted and old and were used a lot. And they just needed a refresh. And Molly stepped up and said, hey, that's something we can really help with. And I think we haven't even activated our chapter on this drive yet because we're going to start this fall. We wanted to wait until the school year kicked in so people could have their own book purchasing kind of settled down. But we already have several boxes of books that have been donated from local publishers who stepped up to the plate. Where our chapter is just conveniently populated by lots of people who are already in the book business. So we've been able to get a lot of wonderful donations already.
I definitely see the two of you working well together. I mean, clearly.
Amy's the best.
We're so lucky. We have such a fantastic chapter. It's really fun to work together.
Well, Amy, can you speak more to that about how, I'll say, whether it's a partnership between the two of you or maybe how the team comes together as a chapter?
Our chapter is really good about I think, about being diverse every time. Like there's a different group that gathers every week. Nashville is a very dynamic city. There's always something going on. I remember the last time we gathered this summer, we were gathering for happy hours at the Pinewood Social in downtown Nashville. And I remember one of the members said via text to me, should we cancel? There's a big concert going on downtown. And I said, we cannot cancel anytime there's something happening because there's always something happening in Nashville. And I bring that up because every time we meet, there are a number of people that I want to be there can't be there because there's always something going on. But the right group always gathers, and it's always a very interesting, fun, dynamic group. I tend to be a common element. I'm usually there because I'm in leadership, but you can never really count on it being exactly the same group twice. And Molly, I love to see Molly's face at our gatherings because she always brings such a great energy and welcome, high energy vibe. But like I said, it's always going to be different and it's always going to be good.
Well, just to add on that, that's completely true. And just as a member, I can say from experience, I think every meeting I've gone to, I've sat with different people and met different people every time. So it's fun every time you go to meet someone else and learn about them and what book they're reading.
I went to a meeting not long ago. Well, gosh, now I think about it, it's been a year ago. I went to a meeting and I met a young woman who was brand new to the city. And she was just like looking for ways to plug in. And she came and she said, I'm probably the youngest person here. She had just moved to town and she was like 22. And but it just went. And she's been back many times since. But I just bring that up because it is a way for people who have no connection to the city at all, who are new here, which I don't know, Molly, aren't there like 30 new people moving to Nashville a day? It's a very vibrant community. So it's a great way to plug in. And like I said, if you plug in with the WNBA, you're going to find a way to serve the community as well. So that means that you're not just going to be plugged in to a click. You're going to be plugged in so that you can serve.
Outstanding. Love it. Molly, how has your work with your book drives changed, with the ones you led? That's why I said it that way. With these book drives, changed your perspective on the power of books and literacy in the community and in the people's lives you touch?
Well, I think I've always really valued literacy in books. My mom's a reading teacher, so I grew up with that kind of ingrained. But being able to see that as an adult and with this community and to be able to provide books to our community in different ways, I think and also just seeing the people we've been working with, how grateful they are to have access to these books, it's been really meaningful. And something that maybe you don't think to appreciate all the time. But books are so special and important and provide education and entertainment and a whole range of things. So yeah, I think it's just made me appreciate it even more.
Well, that speaks, I'll say, to one aspect. I'm going to maybe take a little bit of a twist on this. But so, Molly, what have you discovered about yourself through leading these initiatives?
Ooh. I think it just has given me some more confidence, and I never would have expected that I would be leading something, especially so soon in joining the chapter, which is a huge compliment to Amy and the board for fostering a space for people to do exactly that. And yeah, I'm the type of person who is like afraid to ask for help sometimes or doesn't want to like admit that I don't know what to do. And this experience, there was never even a chance for me to worry about that because everyone right away was picking up different pieces and asking what they could do. And it was just a really great environment to learn that I could do that.
Amy, what would you say to someone who's new to an organization, has ideas, but isn't quite sure how to propose them or how to get started?
Well, I'm an extrovert if you haven't already figured that out. So I'm somebody who likes to quickly lean in. And remember that Sheryl Sandberg book, I think it was called Lean In? I'm not opposed to leaning in. I'm very much a lean in person. But what I'm learning is that a lot of what the good dynamic that comes out of membership organizations like this, volunteer organizations like this, is listening well is a huge piece of it. So I'm trying to talk less and listen more. So I would advise, if someone who wants to step into a position like Molly has, where she came into an organization, was like, I'm not sure how I'm going to fit in here. She listened well, I think, and said, I can see a place for me to step in here. And then she spoke up and said, how about if we do this? She is a perfect example of somebody who listened well, spoke up about a need, and then stepped up to the plate and swung. And she hit a home run. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I just did a sports metaphor. That is so off brand for me.
That was so good. That was so nice. Oh my gosh. Thank you.
Sometimes there's just no other way to put it, right? Just it's fun in the right words at the right time.
I'm the dork who, just a little aside, and you can edit this out if you want to, but I was such a dork that I thought that full court press was a newspaper term until I was about 30. So.
And then didn't you mention to me earlier that you didn't know there was another WNBA of any kind?
Right.
People have asked me since I've joined, when I mention, oh, I'm in the WNBA, they're like, no, you're not.
But for those to I'll say, be clear without any confusion whatsoever, if you'll speak to not just what it stands for, but also the website.
The national organization is WNBA-books.org. Our particular chapter is WNBA Nashville.org.
Now, for both of you, since I'll say the organization has such a strong established past, Amy is taking the leadership reins and leading it into the future, and Molly's got this great energy and initiative. What would you want potential in WNBA members to know about getting involved and making an impact?
I can go as a new member, I guess. Well, I'll just say, I remember like driving to the very first meeting that I was going to, and I was so nervous because it just feels like the first day of school, and you're wondering, who you're going to sit next to and if they're going to want to talk to you. And I can tell you that this chapter in particular, you will be welcomed so quickly. People will definitely talk to you. I will probably talk. Amy will definitely talk to you. And I just remember being so nervous and then heading home and being like, I don't know what I was nervous about. I'm so glad that I did this. So if anyone is thinking about joining, I would just tell them to do it. And we would love to have you.
There's no pressure at all. It's our chapter meetings are open to the public, so you can just give us a try. We meet the first Tuesday of every month at Carrabba's in Green Hills in Nashville.
Amy and Molly, thank you both for such an inspiring conversation. Together, you've shown us that the most effective volunteer organizations aren't just about established programs. They're about creating space for fresh ideas, supporting member initiative, and staying responsive to community needs. Whether it's over 140 books for foster children or filling a library with hope-filled literature, you're both proving that books really can change lives. Thank you for the work you do and for sharing your partnership with us today.
Thank you for having us on, and thanks for doing the good that you do.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Doing Good podcast. If you enjoyed our conversation today, we invite you to subscribe or rate us on your favorite podcast platform. And follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, LinkedIn, or YouTube at Doing Good TV. Doing Good is a 501c3 nonprofit. Please donate to support this podcast via the donate button on our website, doinggood.tv. And while you're there, nominate a volunteer you know for us to celebrate on a future episode. Together, let's celebrate those who are doing good.